All right, let's talk about paper filters. I've been seeing a lot of discussion about paper filters these days. You have a 58 millimeter machine with a 58 millimeter basket. It's not 100% clean. So you'd think, what size filters do you use? 58 millimeters, right?
Wrong.
Well, for most cases. Uh, This is the Weber, supposedly 58. I think it's more like 57 paper filter. One side is kind of rough, the other side's flat. I think you're supposed to put the rough side up facing the coffee. So in this precision basket, this is either, what is this? This is the Pullman basket. Same size basically as the decent baskets, which are the same as VST. So these ones with the big flat bottoms, there's no curve, as opposed to my stock basket. This one has a curve on the bottom. This is the Pullman one. Not much of a curve on the side of the walls. There might be a little bit of a curve, but not much. Same with the decent. There's a paper in there. So yeah, you'd think 58 millimeter basket needs 58 millimeter paper. If you did do that, here's the 58 or 57 millimeter paper. It sort of fits. It would fit on top. Actually, I also have these, which are for the robot machine. They are 58 millimeters, and they seem to be the same size as the Weber ones. And actually, I thought one side feels also rough, and the other side is softer. So I wonder if it's the same paper. On the Weber one, it says it's made by Cafiza. They make some specialty papers for different roast levels, I believe. So yeah, if you put a 58 millimeter one in there, it doesn't fit right. So if you get this wet and you try and seal it, it will hang up on the ledge a little, and then that will cause water, a way of water to get through. You don't want the edges folded up. You want it nice and flat so that it's an even surface, and there's no place for the coffee to, or the water flow to bypass the filter and get around it. So these are from Good Brothers. They have a bunch of different sizes. These are actually only 54 millimeters, 2 inches, and they fit very precisely for these. So it's hard to see, but actually, hold it up to the light. Oh, yeah. So you position it in the center. The downside is it's a little small, so it does have some room to move. So if you move it during WDT, there's a chance that you're going to expose the holes. But it covers all the holes nicely. It works on either the Pullman or the Decent or VST. I assume it should also fit. I believe they're identical. So 54 millimeter, maybe 55 would be better, a little extra. That works for that. You can also buy on Amazon ones that punch your own, you can make your own holes basically. In this ECM Synchronica stock basket, because it tapers, it gets smaller. This again, even the 54 millimeter small one does not fit. It would end up kind of sitting funny on the ledge when it's wet. I'll show you actually. So this was a previously used filter, but so the color's a little tinted, but you can see it almost fits. It's pretty good, but yeah, you can see there's a little bit of overlap on the edge, and you don't want that. I don't know, in this case it looks like it's sitting okay, but it's kind of unnecessarily large. You can see there's a lot of extra space where there is no holes. And you can see that separation there. That's going to give the water potentially a pathway where it can flow through, and then you're going to get either more extraction towards along that path and less extraction in other paths due to the path of least resistance. So yeah, so you want to make sure it's the smaller one, even though it yeah, so 58, you want to make sure it's a little smaller than 58. And you can cut your own filters. There's devices on Amazon that you can get, or other art stores, I believe, will have it. I should look into that. But for now, I have a bunch of filters, so I'm going to use what I got. For the Weber one, we have a whole different filter. Maybe there's a little tiny bit of overlap with the Weber paper filter. Could be a little smaller maybe, or maybe it just placed it badly, but a little bit of overlap, I'd say. Let's see if I can fix that. Yeah, it's very, very precise. Yeah, I think there's some overlap. So it's not perfect on this either, and I'm pretty sure this is the 58 that came with it. I did see there's a package of filters that says 56, but it's the same thing, although I got mine open, so who knows, maybe someone swapped them around, they kept the 56 ones. 55 ones, actually. I think the other one said for 58 millimeter baskets, and this one says for unifilter, but they're the same size. So weird. For the Weber portafilter, it actually fits pretty nicely, pretty perfectly, the 58 millimeter ones that it comes with. Oh, you can't even see through the holes. That's yeah, less light comes through because I think it's a thicker basket. But yeah, the holes are more towards the edge, so you need a paper that's you know, larger. Oh, actually, I'll show you the other paper. So look at that. This is the original 54 millimeter paper filter that was fitting just fine, covering all the holes on the decent basket and the Pullman basket. And look how much extra space we have where it's not covering the holes. So you need a 58 for this one, which is what it comes with. You can also use them on top in place of puck screen. So instead, I started using these ones sometimes, which are easier to clean. They don't have as much and less thermal mass, so shouldn't affect the temperature as much as something like this, which is thicker, heavier, lots of pores in there where coffee oils and particles can accumulate. So you want to give it a good cleaning with coffee detergent every now and then. I know some people use their espresso machine to steam it, but I don't think steam really gets out oils and stuff, not as much. So yeah, soak these in like some Cafiza or some similar coffee detergent, something without you know, the strong chemical smell. Yeah, so you can just use a paper filter on top as long as it's the right size. So the robot ones I found work. I think it should work for this one too. It's been a while since I used them, but it definitely should fit with these bigger precision baskets. So why would you want to put a bottom paper filter in these baskets? I think the theory holds up. It's basically, the theory is that when you do a paper filter on the bottom, it opens up like all these little holes. They can get clogged with fine particles from the coffee grounds. When you cover that with a layer of paper, that paper has a lot of different pores. So it kind of prevents, it acts as a barrier, a filter. It prevents the fine particles from clogging those holes. So that way you can grind finer. Uh, well, you kind of have to grind finer with these. So you grind finer, it won't clog up the holes, so you'll get the same shot time by grinding a lot finer. Oh, that's where that coffee bean went. I was looking for that. Yeah, so when you grind finer, you actually get a much higher extraction level, or a percentage higher anyway, percentage or two, which is fairly significant. And there's been a lot of people saying that higher extraction means better taste. I don't think it's necessarily always the case, but I think if you have a good extraction, um, a good even extraction. All right, so I realized I need to make a conclusion to my paper filter video. Uh, yeah, so what I was saying, I think there's a higher potential when you have a higher extracting basket, or if you're using a paper filter, it also increases your basket, or your potential for how well you can extract. When you're grinding finer, you can extract more. Or if there's an even flow, I think something like the Big Bang basket by IMS, um, that's supposed to be better because it redirects the flow to the edges or the center. I'm not sure how it works, but apparently people are saying it's pretty good. This Normcore one, I noticed it has a lot more surface area, so like you can see right through it a lot easier than with something like this Pullman, or what is this one? I think this is just one that came with a naked portafilter. Um, yeah, so you have a higher potential. It doesn't necessarily mean your coffee will be better. It also depends on your coffee because you want to make sure it is a good quality coffee. I'm still playing around with this Normcore basket. Yeah, I'll make a separate video on that. Yeah, so for paper filter, it's not for everyone. People, they don't want to buy an extra thing. You can make your own. I haven't done it yet, but you still need to buy the, pour over paper filters to make them out of, which is probably a cheaper option, but it's easier just to buy them pre-made. Good Brothers Coffee has a lot of different sizes, which is cool of them. Yeah, so I think I like it. Oh, another thing I wanted to add. Yeah, so when you are doing either on these high extracting baskets or a basket with a paper filter on the bottom, a lot of the times it doesn't flow, it doesn't come together in the center, and it doesn't look as nice. Um, so I don't know if it's actually channeling or you're just seeing the channeling more, but it seems to be typical for using a paper filter. At least that's in my experience. So something to keep in mind. It doesn't come out as a nice stream with a paper bottom filter. Uh, and the other thing, on a lot of these precision baskets, I noticed for the Weber Unifilter as well as this Normcore basket, if you don't use a bottom paper filter, it will clog up on the bottom. Like the holes will clog up. And unlike a typical VST or IMS or Pullman basket like these, it's not that easy to clean. So like the holes seem to get clogged and it's harder to unclog. So that's something to keep in mind. Actually, I'll show you show you what I use for cleaning my baskets and my puck screen. This stuff. It's a supposedly natural. Dr. Bronner's. It's a castile soap. You can get other brands. There's also unscented. I like the citrus ones because I also use it for like, rinsing my hands, washing my hands, and other things. Um, I use it in like a foaming, it's diluted, and I put it in like a foaming soap dispenser. And I find that works well for cleaning off the oils from a coffee basket like this, and also helping to unclog. Um, but even with soap, it's hard to unclog the more precision baskets or baskets like the Weber Unifilter Unibasket, because the metal is thicker on those. It's harder, like the particles that get stuck, they really get stuck. So that's another benefit for using the paper filter. It keeps those holes from getting clogged and it keeps things cleaner. Um, Same idea with yeah. So this stuff for puck screens, thicker puck screens, whatever. It's good. You don't have to use scented stuff, but I find natural citrus scent doesn't seem to affect anything, and yeah, I like it. I think you can use a paper filter with a regular old, regular old precision basket like the Pullman VST IMS, even the stock basket. If you have the right size, you can get a little higher extracting. So you don't have to buy a whole new basket, um, but you raise the bar for like, how much coffee gets extracted into the cup. So it's probably not gonna extract quite to the same level as the Passato high extraction basket or the Wafo ones or the Weber Unifilter, but it gives you a little boost and it's a lot cheaper than buying one of those expensive baskets. Just buying some paper filters, and if you don't like it, you can just not use it. So yeah, it's worth experimenting with. And yeah, that's I usually will use a paper filter, especially with one of these baskets that tends to get clogged up. Let me know what you guys use or what you guys think. I know there's at least one YouTube guy that was saying he hates the paper filters and it just makes everything worse, but I think most people don't agree, or it's just, depending on what kind of coffee you like. If you're doing a dark roast, maybe the paper filter just brings out too much clarity, extracts too much, and then you just end up with worse results. So I'd expect, yeah, that's probably the result if you're using a cheap coffee or something that's just not a quality coffee or an older coffee. You're going to extract the bad flavors and then you're going to be like, this is worse. So in that case, you want to stick with your stock basket, something that's lower extracting. And I do that for like decafs, or like if I have a coffee that I don't love, I'll use the DF83, which is a little lower extracting, or the Weber HG2, and my good old tapered stock basket, because that gives you the most blended kind of flavor with the least clarity, and yeah, at least out of the stuff that I have. There's definitely grinders out that will have less clarity. I'm not saying the DF83 is bad, especially since I modded the declumper. I get a decent amount of clarity out of it, and also the HG2, pretty high clarity for a conical burr. So yeah, let me know what you guys think. Thanks.